Welcome to episode 58 of the Jungle Brothers podcast. It's Joe Worthington. We've got Paul in the house.
Hello, people.
To your award.
Hi.
Sorry, Paul, I didn't give you your last name. It's Photo Philly for the people out there. Guys, the boys recorded a great episode this week. We're doubling up because that's how serious we take this shit. We've been probably neglecting the podcast a little bit over the last few weeks, so we're back on track and we're trying to make it work with social distancing measures in place. Our online training thing has really kicked off into a new phase, and we are running a super high quality broadcast of classes across the week. So if you are interested, reach out, junglebrothers.com, get in touch with us, and we can talk to you about how you can integrate into the Jungle Brothers tribe and start getting skillful, strong, and mobile. Today is a bit of a personal catch-up for us guys. We're going to talk about some of the hurdles and obstacles that we've been facing in our personal lives just over the last sort of month or couple of months, because, well, God damn it, there's been quite a few.
Where do we start?
It's a good question, huh? I get alerted a lot to this. I sound a bit echoey too today.
Yeah, maybe it's because we're all shut up with the blinds shut.
Nah, something changed with our settings.
Oh, let me play with it.
All right, cool. The one that pops out for me talking to a lot of people lately has been like a lack of routine and just kind of that chaos to their schedule. How have you guys found that? How have you found that for yourself, T-Bone?
Yeah, I think most people have had their routine turned upside down. Even people that are still working now. I know for myself, it's been pretty hectic, like the transition. But yeah, overall, I think now it's starting to settle a bit. Getting into the fourth week. Is this our fourth week? Third week. End of the third week.
No, I think it's the fourth.
23rd of March
the fourth
was
week.
the Monday,
Okay.
of which we shut the doors.
Yes. So starting to settle into a new routine now. And I think settling into that new routine, feeling a little bit lethargic, because the first couple of weeks were just go. And then the third week was kind of like still in the mode. And now things are starting to settle. It's like the body's starting to go, okay, I just need a little bit more rest. And sometimes you can mistake that for just feeling like flat or run down, you know.
When
adrenaline's kind of run out.
Necessarily that something's
like come
wrong.
down.
Yeah, right. It's just that you're having a bit of a downturn.
Yeah.
Which is kind of necessary based on what you've been doing.
Yeah. Which is not a bad thing. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've yeah, it's funny. I went to bed late on, I don't know what night it was, maybe Tuesday night or something. I think I had stuff to do, and normally like I would, watch a bit of TV after dinner and then go to bed at the same sort of time, usually around like just before 10:30. And for some reason, I had stuff that I had to get done that night, so I got back on my computer. But I didn't end up going to bed till like 10 to 12, and I was a fucking mess the next day.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny, right? It's an hour, but it's just when you kick yourself out of your routine a little bit, and that's my normal bedtime routine, you kick yourself out of it and you just pay a price.
Yeah.
I think you only notice that when you get to your 30s and 40s, because it never used to mean shit to me. Now it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah, I did all the same things as you guys. We were so busy. We were scrambling and doing what we needed to do. As things started to settle, I took a bit of a kind of a break, and mentally it was like, okay, things are settling, and I was out of that routine. And speaking to the late nights, I went through some bad late nights and I've got the new baby, and Tash goes to bed early, and when she goes to bed and I'm left to my own devices, it was just a period where I was, sometimes I'd open the laptop. I was watching Ozark, just got into these Netflix episodes, this new series, and it was great.
You're doing double episodes?
Doing double eps.
That's
doing
the
double
killer.
eps, dinner double eps. And then, just tired day in and day out. And
It's hard not to do a double episode of that show.
Netflix have got
fucking
You
good.
just want more depression.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, it's kind of comforting knowing someone's going through a shitter time than yourself, even though it's not real.
Yeah. And they have that little transition that gives you about 5 to 6 seconds to decide whether to watch it or not. It's like next episode, and the little bar's going. You're like,
Next episode starts in 5, 4,
Yes.
3. That was one of Netflix's most masterful strokes for their creation of a new culture of watching shows. I was listening to Business Wars podcast,
Okay.
Talking about Netflix versus Blockbuster when they were
Yeah.
both in the game of DVDs.
All right.
But yeah, that feature actually created what we now know as binge watching. Prior to that feature, we didn't binge watch because, well, prior to
Gotta wait a week till it comes out again.
Exactly. It was like the HBO thing. They give you one episode at a time, whereas Netflix were the first to go, here's the whole season.
Yes.
And then it was like, hey, next episode's coming up. Don't move. And you're like, oh, okay.
What about all those technicians
Wow.
and stuff? They would have
Horrible.
they set a
Isn't
new
it?
bar for
crazy.
not running credits. There's no credit run.
No one
that
gives a
way.
fuck about the
one
credits
cares
anymore,
that
hey?
They just kind of did some deal and they're not there anymore.
Credits were always a weak effort to give recognition to
People
you know
that
what I-
ream their ass out on
that's
that
right.
show.
From us coming, like we didn't even get credited on a lot of shows that we worked on.
No.
That's
We fucking
right.
did more work than anyone.
That's right. Yeah, it was up to the producer's discretion or whatever it was at the end of the day, whether you got it in or not.
So what's your with the routine piece then? What is it that gives you routine? Being that you're now working from home most days, what are the things you do to give you structure?
Well, I can say that for me, and I would say that I'm by far not naturally a creature of routine and habit without other,
Because you're a Fijian.
because I'm a Fijian and I grew up with a pretty haphazard youth where I would put myself to bed whenever I got tired. I'd fall asleep in the couch and I just I didn't have this tuck you into bed, switch off the light type way of growing up. And I can sleep anywhere and I went from house to house all the time. So without, I learned a lot of structure with my wife Tash and being with her for many years and living with her. But what does give me structure is, and I've realised it now more than ever, is the responsibilities that I have the next day. So now I'm clawing back and I've turned a corner after I hit my low sleeping point where I was going to bed too late. And then the other night, I think I spoke to you guys, was it Sunday night? Where my body just went, nah. And I fell asleep at like 8 and had a really big sleep. And now I'm on a good path now. But structuring my mornings is what helps my evenings. So it's now, just trying to set in structure and going back to basics, have a time to wake up and a little routine to do before I go and see my responsibility. So structure is, making some solid appointments, whether it's with myself or it's with someone, and bringing back accountability with training with a client and stuff like that. That's what's starting to bring it back for me.
I know you do a bit of personal training in the mornings. Is
Yes.
that one of the things
That's
that
one of the
brings
things.
structure?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Gets you up, gets you out of the house.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because that's a big part of the thing, right? Is that for a lot of people, they can kind of get up out of bed and then just walk to their living room or office and start working. And so you don't go through all of those other layers of structure that we used to have, which were like shower, get dressed, have breakfast, jump in the car, or walk to the bus stop, go to the workplace, like all those little things.
The ritual.
Yeah, and they give you like separation. You're now leaving your living space and you're going to your homes, to your workspace. And what about you, bro?
Well, yeah, same thing. Well, I think a lot of people now are just struggling with the idea that everything is in the one space. So your training's in the one space, your work's in the one space, your your kids' school is in the same space, you're cooking in the same space, you're showing affection to your loved ones in the same space, and if you don't separate that space in some kind of time slot, then it can be difficult for you to switch from being the boss at work to being, wife at home, to being school parent, to being like school teacher to parent, which are very different things. And then it all merges into one, and you've got all the hats on at the same time, and then you just end up dropping balls everywhere.
Yep.
You shit to your partner, and your kid's getting yelled at like a parent when you're supposed to be patient like a teacher, and your cooking's fucking mess because you're halfway between a Zoom conference or whatever. So I think it's the best thing for us was to just structure everything out. So between this period and this period, it was school time, and we have a tiny little room next to the kitchen that leads out to the decking at the back of our house, and we just turned that into schoolroom. And it's really pokey, but it has good airflow. It's got good light, and I just put all the schoolwork up on the walls. We get all the toys out. Only educational stuff like art and any clay stuff that the kids have made, that just decorates that room, and that's theirs. There's no other objects in there but school stuff. And then for their morning ritual, it's like out of bed, make your bed, clean your room, get changed, brush your teeth, downstairs, eat, play, and then after play, it's into schoolwork. And that routine, knowing that they had that like the night before, just made it so much easier for us to actually sit down and teach them. But it was also good for us because we knew between 9 a.m. and 10:30, I had the kids and my phone was off and I couldn't do work over that time. Not off, but on silent. And then
it never goes off.
Never off. Yeah.
How
and
dare
then
you even suggest that.
but the attention is on them for that period. And then after that, I'm off to work. And then when I come home, I know that I'm in dad mode and we're just going to hang out or take kids for a skate or whatever it is. So blocking out those time slots, and I'm not like that usually. Like I'm like Paul, where work dictates my day, has been a really, really big role at keeping everything together over the last 3 weeks. It's been great, and especially for my relationship with my wife, because that's probably the first thing to get put down the list of priorities, is just giving your lover the attention that you would usually give them, because everything else is taking priority. Oh shit, school's upside down, can't let education drop. Oh, work's going to turn upside down. Oh, I've got to look after what's happening in the business. And then it's like, oh, funds. Okay, I've got to get on go. Everything just moves up that. And by the time you sit down with your wife, you're like, it's fucking 10:30 and you're brain dead and exhausted.
You want to watch Ozark.
And you don't want to talk about anything. You just want to sit down and watch Ozark. Yeah. So, yeah, blocking out that time there has been really good for us as well.
That's such a great point. I really like the sound of what you've done with the classroom for the kids. That sounds super cool. I know with Hattie at our place when we have her, because she goes between time with us and time with her dad. But the place is pretty big. There's multiple areas where the classroom can take place, but definitely it would make sense to clear it of like an area of distractions, and just make it like this is where you do your study and your crafts and all those things that are relevant to schoolwork. Yeah,
we had our kids originally in the lounge room, and we did not get anything done. It's just too relative to like Lego
fun stuff,
and everything,
like play stuff,
and cartwheels and everything else that they do in there. So it was just like got to get them out. It was a one tiny little room. Yeah. And my wife was like, it's too small, like it's a horrible place. And I was like, wait till we got it. And they only need the desk. You know what I mean? That's all they're kind of using it for. So yeah, it worked a treat. It was great. And also to be able to talk about it the night before, like this is what we're going to do. And they actually stuck to it. Like they would call me, like we almost skipped the jump on the trampoline. And that was part of their routine for the next day. And I tried to get them onto the desk and they were like, no, we've got 5 minutes on the trampoline first. I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, yes. But then they come in and they're happy to sit down and work,
Yeah.
And I think as adults, we're the same. Like if you can have that routine and you try and stick to a routine that you had, like if it means getting up in the morning at the same time, have your shower, have your coffee, go for a walk instead of getting in the car, and then come back home, clothed, not in your PJs, and sit down and do your work. You're going to be more productive.
Yeah.
And you're setting that time frame. Like I'm working my standard day. I'm not going to go through till fucking 10 p.m. tonight. And you'll get more shit done over that period of time because you got your structure back. Yeah,
it's so true. I found myself, what was I doing yesterday? Misa and I were training in the afternoon, and I had on my, and for me, like I train in the afternoons now. I usually do anyways, but that kind of marks the end of my day or the productive hours. So I'll work through the morning, through the day, and then once it gets to 4:30, 5:30, I go train, and then that's kind of it, unless there's something super pressing. But I wanted to shoot a couple of videos for Instagram, and I have to I have to put that stuff in my schedule. So I had in my diary, I was like, I got to shoot a video today. So we went down to, it was decided we'd go down to the park and train in the afternoon, do some handstands and some kettlebell stuff and whatever. So we went down to the park and, you know, she was doing her workout. I was doing a different thing. We're both just kind of warming up, training, having a chat. But then somewhere in that mix, I decided I wanted to shoot my Instagram video. And of course, when you try to do two things, so I'm trying to train and hang out with my partner, but I'm also then trying to create some content, I start doing a shit job of all of them. So all of a sudden I'm fucking around with my phone and it's like 15 minutes where I'm not training and I'm still in my warm-up. And we had been conversing, but I was no longer conversing because I'm now focused on my phone and trying to shoot this video. And, you know, it wasn't, Mies didn't get upset or anything, but she did say to me, she had been saying something and I just didn't respond because I was in my own head. And then she's like, I can't remember what she said, but it was like, oh, are you not talking to me anymore? Or something like that. And I was like, fuck, I've blown it. Like, not blown it, like she didn't mind, right?
Drop all the
I
balls.
was like, why am I trying to do two or three things right now? I know better than that. And I know that I should just put the content off till tomorrow or like ask Misa to like engage her in the process. But really, I'm here to do a different thing, and that's train and spend time with the girl I love. It's so easy to fuck up on that, even when you know it, right?
Yeah, and I think your personalities, like we all have different personalities. Not, you know, some of us more than others, but
I got multiple, bro.
yeah, some people have very different personalities. Like they have to go to work and be like the fucking, be a cop or something like that, and then they got to come home and be a mum, and then they got to, you know, when you're shifting between those hats, you're a different person, you know. And the way if you mold that all into one space, people are going to freak out. You know, they're going to be like, "Oh fuck, what's going on?"
Happens all the time. I think.
You know?
I think it's a big reason why, you know, a lot of relationships can break down.
Yeah, you bring in your home work home with you,
or your work.
You hear that all the time.
Yeah, your work kind of values and stuff back at home, and there's like a kind of disparity between the expectations of the two.
And now
I
it's all
personally
in
used
there.
to do that all the time.
Yeah.
And I had to work at not bringing like a film type technician.
Imagine being in the
kind of
military.
regime back at home. It was like, I used to hate myself for it, and then I had to kind of just stop doing it.
Like trying to get projects organized. You clean this, I'll do this. Like,
yeah, it was more just an attitude. Yeah, that like shit wasn't smooth and it wasn't happening, and there wasn't anticipation in what was happening. But it was like, dude, it's actually just life. You just got to chill out a bit, you know? Yeah. But yeah,
Well, now it's all in the one space.
Yeah.
So you don't have those visual cues to just and those environmental cues to bring you to put parameters into them.
yeah.
So you gotta try and switch in and out of these headspaces without all the help that you'd usually get, the car drive and the radio station and all this stuff that gives you those parameters. And now it's just like, okay, I got to fucking have the discipline.
You fabricate it in your head.
Yeah, to do it yourself and go, okay, I got to shut this laptop, turn that phone onto silent, and then focus solely on my kids now. And it's hard because your mind's still going, fuck, I got this, I got to do that, I got to do that. Oh, I got to call this person. Shit, I should put that down on my diary so I don't forget. And then, you know, a minute later, just like what happened with you and me, is someone will say, hello, you know, like, did you hear anything? Did you just hear what I said? Like, my kids do that to me. They click their fingers in front of my face. Hey, dad. That's great. Has anyone had any, like, domestics yet?
Our relationship knows no domestics at this
really?
point.
Oh, he's still there.
That's cute.
It's quite a long time.
We've had tears, you know,
Yeah.
for sure. It wasn't domestics, but it's tough because, well, I'm in a little different situation in that we have a small baby as well. So the whole scenario with the COVID and the being at home, it's just a little different. And we're in a good place now. But initially, you know, it's really hard. We got the initial weeks where we were really busy. So it was like shit was happening. We had to put more time and focus into here to stop the boat from leaking and whatnot. Meanwhile, at the same time, the kids came home for homeschooling, so more work for Tash and the household and Kate and whatnot, and then throw into the mix as rational and smart and intelligent a person Tash is, when you're fatigued from not sleeping, from getting up and feeding a baby, it doesn't matter what you know or how smart you are, you just you can't be cool, you know. And so that was definitely trying. So not really domestic, but it was tough. So that first week when we shut the doors, and then went around to the second week, and it was clear that it wasn't sustainable in the current balance that we were at. So it was less a domestic, but more like a, hey, pull your head in. Like we actually had to stop doing everything and then come together, and we spoke about it, Taylor? And like actually do what you guys were talking about, which was figuring out what nights I'm going to be home, what days I'm going to be working. And then that took a week or so to spread that out. And then in terms of like, you know, being present and different times for being at home or in work mode at home, I've really, with the young baby and all, it's been a blessing. COVID has brought about, you know, this gift, which is a lot of home time with family. And for me, I'm really happy because, you know, Lucy's only 14 weeks old or whatever, so it's really cool. But yeah, I'm just separating that as much as I can. And when I'm 100%, the phone's off, I'm there, I'm in the kitchen, I'm with the kids or whatever, and just trying to keep that and then the equal respect for when I'm working. And that's hard. It's hard, you know, when you're just upstairs and you can hear tears and you can hear stuff going on, but you kind of just know that, you know,
it's not your time slot.
It's not my time slot, and respectfully, and you know, it doesn't matter if they come upstairs and whatever. But it's trying, but it's getting better.
Yeah, the parent kiddie time, I think, like in general, has gone up a lot. Everywhere you could see it. We go. I was down at Maroubra yesterday. It was yesterday or the day before, and all the car parks have just turned into the new, because they've shut the skate parks down, and now all the car parks, because they close the car parks to get in the beach, so now the car parks have just turned into the new skate park. I don't know if it's like made any difference. That's really. So good. So all the kids are just taken over the car parks, and they're all like all the, you know, from like 2 up to like 5 kind of thing. But I've never seen so many, like, especially dads with their kids back on their skateboards, you know, pushing, you know, the kids on their bikes. I'm like, wow, look at this. And it's like, you know, 3 or 2 p.m. But there's just a lot of quality time. And don't get me wrong, there's families out there that are probably better off not seeing certain people more often than others, you know, but, and they might be going through a shitty time. And statistically, over periods like this, domestic violence usually goes up. Like, there's a lot of stress on the family unit. But I think just from observing my own neighbourhood, the neighbourhood that I'm in, there's been a lot more parent and kiddie time, like quality time. And you can see they're not on their phones. Like, you used to go to the park and you just watch a mum or a dad just stand there staring at their phone for the whole fucking duration that the kids were down there, while they were like standing on a scooter watching the other kids go around in the fucking skate park. And what the fuck are you even doing here? You know, it's like they're taking the dog for a walk. But now it's not.
It's even not disrespectful when you're taking a dog for a walk doing that, right?
Yeah, fucking
But again, I mean, that's that. It's probably that thing where it's like that. The work life is integrated, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'll take you down to the park. Yeah. I'm just going to do some emailing. Yeah. Because I'm fucking under the pump here. Yeah. And I'm guessing most of those cats would have the best intentions, but you just get caught out. Yeah. Like we all do.
Yeah. So it was actually really nice to see so many parents engaging with their kids. And I was speaking to another guy down there who's another one of my son's father of one of my son's friends from his daycare. And he turned around at me and goes, man, there's going to be some fucking really good skaters and surfers come out the back end of COVID, because they're actually getting taught by their parents now instead of sent off on their own.
Picking it up on the fly.
Yeah, yeah. Or trying to pick it up on their own. So it was good. It was nice to see, actually.
That would be interesting to see. There's a lot of talk at the moment on how how careers and how certain things that require pathways like education and whatnot into certain jobs will be affected because of those journeys having been cut or being cancelled right now. It would be cool to see or to kind of imagine what the flip side will be like that, like what cool skills will come about because parents now have more time to spend with their kids and perhaps teach them things they didn't have time to do before.
Yeah. I think the whole coming out the other end of this, I don't know, even for us, but I mean, business will be different because all of the technology that we're using now is going through this accelerated evolution phase. I mean, watching even Zoom at the moment change on a daily basis, you know. There's an update every time I turn it on. So I think a lot of offices will be like, well, you know what, this is actually working well for us. Let's keep a little bit of this, going and keep the downsizing.
Save on rent.
Yeah, and maybe spend a little bit more time with my family now. And we're still making good progress. You know, it would be nice to think that there could be a lot of positives that come out the back end of it. You know, on a number of different levels, social levels, economic levels, you know.
I'm thinking a 3-day week here. What do you think I was thinking?
Damn.
There was a study in
I fucking love
Spain?
that.
Oh, no, it's an English company that enforced a 4-day work week within their company, and they were a real estate company. I think it was real estate, something where you'd think you'd be open every day. Oh no, it was a marketing company, and they were closed every Wednesday and Saturday and Sunday, but nobody worked on those days, and their productivity levels went like through the roof.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the whole company just became very, very productive, and this woman was giving speeches all over Europe, and a lot of businesses are like, oh, I'd love to do that, but just can't. But yeah, it was interesting to see that there's a lot of different structures that work out there that probably work a lot better than the ones we're using now, but because we're just indoctrinated into them, and it's cultural to be working a 4-day week. It's almost like
It's a bit lazy, mate.
yeah. Yeah, you would almost feel a bit guilty doing that, you know, running your own business kind of thing. But I think it would be a great thing to work towards, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't
Just
agree more.
more time for the people that matter in your life. And I think that it makes total sense that having like putting something like that in place or experimenting with that kind of work structure, that it's going to have a positive effect on your business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of the less days or the less time type thing that we were just talking about, but less a believer in the fact that we're like remote is now the way forward. So there's two different things to like all be working from a different place to then spending less time in the same place. I think that you can't replace face-to-face collaboration inside rooms. But yeah, I'm all down for less time spent, and because I see that as you could definitely be more productive. But some people are thinking, oh, we're all going to be remote potentially, and I don't really know what industries will. Some will try, and I think there will be more people working remote for sure. But there's a lot of things that you won't be able to replace, I believe, and still be as effective and competitive as other companies in whatever industries.
Yeah.
Just because, face-to-face it works when we're all in the same room.
I agree with that. There's the only people who I think that the remote thing probably works better for is when those people who just do quite menial jobs in offices, and it sounds like there's just a lot of interruptions from coworkers all the time. And it's like, I got fucking 3 meetings today, and then so-and-so wants to come over and have a chat. And whereas it's like half a day from home and I actually got like more than a full day's worth of work done. And then I can go in for my meetings later in the week or whatever it is. I think, even for us, there's certain jobs we do that we know when we come into the gym here where being around other people just gets in the way. And then there's a lot of things where we need each other. So I would that if there were a mix, some kind of balance, that would be real nice.
Yeah.
But it's so tricky, right? Because our whole work culture has just grown to fill all of the available space, and then it swells to take up more space, And that's essentially that's how I see work for me. It's like work is what I do all the time unless I carve out time for other things.
Yeah.
So I carve out like, okay, obviously I'm going to sleep, or I sleep. I'm going to have meal times. Okay, I'm going to train. I'm going to do a date night once a week. I'm going to, all these little things that you add in, really work just becomes that fills the emptiness everywhere in between, which is sort of counter to like this idea of kind of, I think what you're talking at is like, we would need to change our perspective of it.
Yeah.
And be like, no, don't work all the time that you can. Just work for this amount of time, or work to get this amount done.
Well, that's how I've had to think about the timeshare now with Tash. And it was literally like, it started from that perspective, and it was really refreshing just to be like, yeah, when can I work? When can I work based on the responsibilities I have here at home? And, it's never that we don't want to spend time at home. Maybe it is for some, but I personally love, that's why I need to go and work elsewhere like a couple of days a week, or go to the park, because I can just wake up and hang out with my family all day, all morning, and it'll just roll into the afternoon. But yeah, I had to take that shift, and it was like, first it was like evenings, I got to be home for evenings, all evenings, as many as I can. And then it's like, okay, and it was a negotiation of in the calendar to add work into this place. Does it work? Add work into that place. So yeah, it was really refreshing. It'd be nice to just stay like this.
It'd be super nice
to keep that perspective.
Dude, eating like all of your meals at home with the fam each day, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's been...
man.
Yeah, I love it.
It's crazy.
It kind of blows me away at how much food you go through when you're preparing all of your meals yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit, man. As a species, we require a lot of food.
A lot.
Our grocery bills have gone up.
Have they?
Also...
But you're saving on cafe stuff and like eating out?
I guess so. Yeah, we definitely are. But our shops are bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, side note, our cockroaches and ants have increased, even though it's winter. There's more activity than there was before, and it's usually summertime when they come out.
There's more food around the house.
Well, literally, we have the kids and everyone just eating all day, and the kids, they're just running around all day, snacking in the cupboards. Grabbing stuff.
Savages.
Oh, mate. Make a piece of toast, walk around the house. Get out of here. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Imagine how much people have saved from gambling. Imagine being a gambler this time. Well, I suppose you can still gamble, can't you?
Yeah.
You can still gamble?
Online.
That's fucking horrible. What a fucking shit thing. I mean, I understand the poker tournaments, that kind of stuff, but, like, can you play a pokey online? Can't play a pokey online, can you?
Dude, if you can...
Like pull the ding, 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 ding.
Mate, you can... I'm sure you can.
That's fucking horrible.
Gambling's one of those ones that I see no place for it in the world, ever.
There will always be somewhere.
Same with, like, horses and greyhound. Like, and I'm not a hater, but when I think about it, I'm just like... I was never, like, always a hater, but I'm just wondering... I feel like it's going to be one of those things like slavery one day when we look back and go, we used to race those things, like, and there's such a huge
massive
business around it,
big
and
money,
generates a lot of money, and it's jobs and stuff. But man,
man,
imagine where those jobs could go. Like they could go into other shit. I don't know. It's just I'm baffled when I think about it.
I personally know a few people that are addicted to gambling, and
me too.
it has fucking destroyed their lives.
Yeah, sure.
And supposedly, now, obviously the statistics off the top of my head, so quote me on this, but the major percentage of gambling revenue comes from like 2% of gamblers. Like 90% of gambling revenue comes from like 2% of gamblers, which is like the idea of that. When you think about it, you're like, what the... That's fucking horrible.
Yeah, and I don't blame
like
all the people who gamble. Like, it's an addictive thing that you can get caught in. But you got these government bodies that could probably make more of a change around it.
The fucking global pandemic.
That's what it is.
What's wrong with a bit of a punt? Hey?
Bit of a punt.
Go down to the doggies.
My yearly gambling thing
Blow
used to be 2Up. I used to love 2Up.
Yeah. I remember
I haven't been
playing
for
it
years.
like one year or 2 years, and being in the prime of my pub going kind of life. I don't know, maybe like 24 or something, and just having the best fun. Like,
It's the
and
best.
being like, I can't wait to play 2 Up again next year. And then I never played it again. It was just that 1 year and then it's gone.
Well, I don't know what the
I put
difference is,
$5
but
in a pokey once.
Is that all?
$5 and I pressed the button and I lost it all and I was like, I'm not fucking doing that again.
oh man, I was on the pokies for
boring,
like
bro.
It was ridiculous.
I was on the
Even
pokies
graphics
for
were
years,
shit.
but I was like not heavy.
No way, you're on pokies.
Not like how everyone else
Film
is.
industry,
but I
bro,
used
baller.
to, it was literally. Now you know when it happened, film industry literally
Back in the Hollywood days.
cash, just burn cash. But I remember when I
Jeez,
started,
had no idea.
I went up to work on a film in the Gold Coast, and we were living on top of a pub. It's like one of those ones where it's a hotel, and there's a pub down the bottom. And I'd go there and I'd put money in the pokies because I had no one to hang out with. And there was just always around. Like I always had friends on pokies. I was not the guy that just put heaps of money in the pokey machine, but you'd put $20 in, you're sitting around. It's kind of like when you got
Social kind of thing.
yeah, it's kind of like cigarettes. Like I think a lot of
Social
kids
smoking.
Pokies and cigarettes go together
they
really
go
well.
together. It's just like, oh, what are you
Social
doing smoking a cigarette? Oh, me too. Oh, how about that lighter? I don't know. But when you're young and you don't have as much confidence just to exist and talk about whatever, it's always the pool table. Let's play
That
pool.
little common
Or-
distraction.
Yeah, the common distraction. So I used to, put in
Yeah.
a 20 here with the guys, whatever. But it's a problem. I don't blame people who are on it.
Oh, it's
blame
addiction, isn't it?
The guys
Speaking
who
of-
reinforce it.
Of addictions, alcohol consumption's gone up a lot. hasn't
Alcohol
it?
consumption's been
20%
enjoyable.
Apparently.
20%.
And there's been this correlation between another statistic that I've been analysing lately, and that's your body fat percentage. bro. Correlation between the two.
I was going to say,
that I've been analysing.
keeps bringing up these numbers. I don't know where they're coming from.
Well, 87% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
It's true.
100%
No, it's true.
yours.
I've had an increase of body fat percentage. It's true, and I've also until what night was it? So today's Friday. The last 2 nights. Oh no, I had a glass of wine last night. Wednesday and Tuesday night, I didn't have a drink, and they were the first two. Tuesday was the first night of no alcohol since lockdown.
Holy shit.
I've had just one drink usually. Like I'll have one beer or one glass of wine, but every night.
What do you reckon? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I feel
I think it's a good thing. And it's a contentious statement, but I think one drink a night over a period when you're going through a much higher levels of stress, like recognizing that and using some form of
stress relief.
stress reliever.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's bad if you're an alcoholic and you go from 6 beers to a case or something like that, or even 3 drinks to 6 or something like that. But to introduce one over that period of time and then recognize that, okay, you're through it and now you're back off it again, probably not a bad thing.
No, you're right. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't have any regrets, and I don't. It's not like. If someone was telling me that they did that, I'd be like, dude, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
However, I do know for me that one drink does affect my mood in the evening and my energy levels, and does affect how I sleep.
Yeah.
So
In the negative.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
I know,
Your moods as well, good or bad?
bad. Like as soon as it doesn't put me
After
in
or
a bad
before
mood.
you have the drink?
After, it just makes me
No.
tired.
Tired.
Wine, not so much. Interestingly, wine used to affect me quite negatively when I was in my 20s. Now I can have a glass or two and it doesn't, and I'm fine. But if I have a beer, I kind of instantly dip into a low energy. And I really enjoy drinking the beer, but I don't feel good afterwards. I feel a bit kind of irritable and tired.
Yeah.
And so that's always been an ongoing thing for me. I'm like, as much as I love drinking it, I just don't love how it makes me feel.
Feel after.
Unless I'm out and maybe I'm having 5 beers.
Very different, isn't it?
It's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're at home and it's like you're either engaging, with your kid or you're engaging with your partner, you can tell very easily why am I not feeling myself right now? And I know that beer fucks with me like that. So no, I agree with this statement. However, I was for myself, I'm like, this isn't good. I'm going to go back to, I think we made a loose arrangement to go back to 3 nights of drinking a week. which means that maybe we might have 2 drinks on those nights,
Yeah.
or whatever. But it just means that there's 4
Three,
nights
yeah,
without
clear-
alcohol, and I
clear-
think
clear
that's
mind.
yeah.
That's a good idea.
I mean, it's also too for folks listening. Typically, I drink. I would have a drink on three nights a week, so
Yeah.
I'd probably have about 6 to 7 drinks a week in total.
Yeah.
So now I'm having maybe 7 to 9. So my total consumption has increased, and it doesn't sound like a lot for people out there who might do 20 or 30, but I think percentage wise, it has an effect.
Yeah, that's an increase for sure. I can't if I have one, I'll have another one and then another one.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm not an alcoholic. Like it's not my
Not a
drug of
vice.
choice. You know what I mean? Like I don't wake up the next day and think, fuck, I would like to have another drink tonight. Like I've never been. Whereas like if I smoke a joint, and then I could smoke a joint every day and not even think twice about it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it
as
would
in you
never.
just
It would
love
never.
it.
Yeah. I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? And I don't because of that reason. So but with booze, like if I have one, I'll have all of it. So if there's like a bottle of something in the fridge, as soon as I crack the top of it, I'll just drink it all. So I just don't like.
Dead set. I know.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Because I don't know what it is. I think I drink quickly, and then I get thirsty, and then I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then I just drink another one because it tastes good.
I think it's probably got something to do
Hey, you
with
got
the
any more
sugar.
of those drinks?
Yeah, it's the sugar.
Yeah,
it's the
because
fucking
that's how you treat.
yeah,
that's
like
how
a
you treat a block of
soft
chocolate.
drink. Yeah, or,
You open
yeah,
it.
like I am a binge eater when it comes to like chocolate
Yeah.
and ice cream and that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
So I have to be aware of that. So that's why I can't do a drink and like
You
I
don't
can't
do the one
No,
drink.
it's just better that I just don't. And then if I do, then I'm going for it.
Going hard. Well, look, I used to drink a lot, and now I haven't really increased my drinking since COVID. Oh, maybe I have. I haven't really been counting. I have a mother-in-law that enjoys a bottle of wine a week. Like, we'll open one, have a few glasses, and then screw it back up and have the other glasses the next night or something like that. And then on the weekend, I'll have a beer or 2. I would like to, and I pump myself up like, oh yeah, I'm going to have a few beers and watch this and that. I'd like to keep going, but I just don't have it in me. I have the beer, and then I start to taper off, and then I just, I get tired or whatever, and I can't keep drinking. Otherwise, I guess I binge like when I go out with friends. And after that first week, after the second week that we had here, after we'd shut and we were running around, I was like, oh, when this is all done, I'm going to get really drunk. And I had a lame attempt at that via the house party app one night. And I was like, it was Friday or Saturday night. I was like, that's it. And I went past and I thought, I'm going to stock my fridge up and just get a case of beer. I always buy 6-packs and stuff. I'll just have a case of beer sitting around, and it'll probably take me 3 months to drink it. It's still sitting, half of the case is still sitting there. And I bought them, and then, I drank like 4 beers that night, and then I paid for it. And then I paid for it because I was just tired and felt gross the next morning, just lethargic. So I think
There's so many good beers out there now.
well,
I don't like any of the new ones.
Oh, really?
a lot
They're
of
all too strong and they're
Mate,
too much flavour for me.
well, that's
Too
the
many
one
flavours
thing.
But the
going on.
cans look really cool. I'm
Cans
like,
look
mad
great.
bottle, bro.
Yeah.
No, you need to find the good ones. I decided because I bought a case of Peronis, and I've never really bought Peronis. I know that my favourite bottled beer is 3 Sheets from the Lord Nelson, and I know that one works with me, and I feel good when I drink it, and I don't feel crap the next morning unless you drink a ton of them. So I know now for sure I'm never buying anything less than that, I think.
Then 3 sheets or
The
less
3
than
sheets.
Peroni?
3 sheets, because the Peroni's just not, man, I can have one and feel a little bit. So anyway, I think what you were saying about like, the mental relief that a drink can have, and being in that social space where you can relax and you're not engaging in something that's naughty, but it's a real, I don't know what it is about all of the things that come with releasing, allowing yourself to be, to enjoy something. I think it's just a balance there. So like the drink is fine, because right now you're trying to mitigate the mental stress or something and address that by doing this sort of action or the tradition. But when you pass that point and it starts to bring more direct physiological negatives to your body, that's when you kind of just you've tipped it too far in the other direction. So a drink here and there is fine if you don't feel like absolute shit. So it comes down to how you feel, and you've got a good awareness of that, so you can gauge that.
Yeah, and potentially I have maybe a hyper awareness, but if that's enough to make the process on the whole not quite enjoyable enough for me, then I'm like, oh well, I should cut the process. But it doesn't mean somebody else might be like, dude, I have 3 beers and I feel fine.
Yeah.
And the next day I don't notice a thing.
Yeah.
And I reckon if I felt like that, then I would do it a lot more often. I was thinking,
Yes.
I do Friday nights typically for Misa and I is burger night. So we'll like order burgers and chips and like maybe a chocolate thick shake or something like that. Thicky. And we often go to, we try different places, but I really like to go to the Burger Project and get their burgers because they're quality and they're just delicious, whatever. Anyways, sometimes at the moment they're closed, right? Or sometimes whatever we decide, let's go to Ribs and Burgers, or let's try this other place.
Macca's.
Mickey D's.
Oh.
Nah, Mickey D's just for road trips, bro. And coming to and from the gym. But the thing, it's this fucked up thing with thick shakes where I'm like, I get the thick shake and I'm like, this is a fucking mad thick shake. I'm going to drink this container of like this bucket of ice cream and milk and chocolate sauce. and I drink it and it's so pleasurable when I'm like sucking on that straw. And then afterwards I just feel like dog shit. And I feel that it's like,
Especially when it's washing down a burger.
oh man, my guts, like I'm just like, oh, that wasn't
Solidifying
good at
in
all. And then I'm like going to bed that night and I'm like, oh, I can't do that anymore. And then next Friday I'm like, let's get burgers and thickies. and you know that you're going to pay a price for that moment of enjoyment. And just recently I was like, hey, I'm fucking pulling the pin on that for a little while because it's just it reached a tipping point where I'm like, it's not enjoyable enough for me. But there was a long period of time, and that time will come again, where I'm like, fuck it, if I feel like shit afterwards, it doesn't matter, it's worth it. I
Brain
enjoy
holds on to
that
good
ritual,
times.
and I enjoy like leaving the gym and driving to Broadway, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting Bergsies, it's Bergsy night, like all those little cues, and that anticipation is quite part of the enjoyment.
Yes, and that's the same as growing out of freaking drinking yourself into like oblivion every weekend when you're in your 20s. Eventually, the hangovers is just not worth it.
Yeah, it hurts.
It hurts too much. You don't recover as well, and then you just dip out, and then every now and then you have a mate so-and-so, and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be so good, and you get into it, and then you're like hurting for longer than ever before.
It was so not worth it.
Yeah.
What do you think about our like bottle shops being on the list of places essentials? Yeah, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's necessary for
For the reasons we spoke about.
yeah, for that, but also just for what's the word, like
relief.
keeping the populace like
Subdued.
subdued. Yeah, I think if we didn't,
like-
people would be fucking flipping out.
That's what I was going to ask
Flipping.
next. Imagine if we shut the bottle shops.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Imagine the fucking
Domestic violence.
Oh my God, people
Well,
would
actually,
be-
that would be
probably-
interesting.
maybe
it
that'd
would
go
go
down.
up or down. Yeah.
But there'd be like a I don't know, like a government upheaval.
Well, the pubs are
People
bottle
take
shops
to the
too now.
streets.
I'm pretty sure the pubs have got some
Militias.
special license where they can sell groceries and operate like a corner store.
No way.
Yeah. I haven't seen. I drove past one.
Yeah, and restaurants can sell alcohol.
Yeah. So they've people can go in and get like carrots and a case of beer from the Warren View.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it's
Give me one of those thick shakes and a
knows?
fucking cheeseburger.
that's right.
Wow.
Just to keep them afloat. But it's funny because it's under the banner of essential. It's just in that category. I don't think they're saying that it's essential that you keep drinking. But when you think of it as a business, they're run by 1 to 2 staff members and they're low risk. But I guess you're wondering whether we should be having these vices sitting around while people are at home. Is it sending the wrong message?
Yeah. Well,
I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
What would Joe
is
drink,
it
though?
essential?
I think it is. I actually think it is. I mean, I think of like, some of our members, I'm sure, listen to this, fucking blowing up at this conversation.
They've been drinking this whole time.
Yeah, like Like, mate, you know, like if you're in a small apartment, and say you got 4 kids, and say your fella's at home and you're not used to having him, or say
In your space.
yeah, you're all in each other's space. You're trying to homeschool your kids. They're not fucking interested. Like, potentially the only salvation you have each day is a glass of wine when the sun goes down.
Yeah.
And it's like if that was gone, or for whatever reason it was unavailable, I don't know. I just you still got Netflix,
What
obviously.
do you got to
Pornhub.
look forward to?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Well, are we talking about shutting the bottle shops for health reasons, so it's not spread and you've got more population going to them? Or are you talking about cutting out alcohol? Because you could shut the bottle shops and still allow Jimmy Brings to go around,
Yeah.
or some. Or,
Well, I spoke to my local bottle shop right next door to us, and I said, you must be killing it. And he said, actually, no, they're not getting many people coming through at all. And he said, everyone's deciding that they're going to Dan Murphy's, even though Dan Murphy's isn't any different in price, which is also really interesting. Like, people are getting into that, like,
I'm
that
gonna buy
panic
bulk.
buy, bulk buy. So I'm like, we'll go bulk buy. I'll go to Dan Murphy's and bulk buy there instead of at my local, which I thought was really sad. I was like, that's fucked.
Well, that is sad. It's very sad, but it
That's
also
Woolies again, isn't
also makes sense because
Woolies.
from what I know, Dan Murphy's has they just buy on a scale that allows them to bring their prices right down.
Yeah, but the prices are still the same.
Yeah, I bet they're not though. I bet they got specials and
They'd
shit.
have
that-
specials and
You know,
cheap shit that you probably wouldn't want to buy.
Like they'd be doing everything they can to make sure that's the
They can
place.
undercut everyone.
Yeah, like price match guarantees and all that bullshit. So yeah, I mean it's funny, right? Because people will tout like support your local business, like make sure you go to your local cafe, keep paying your gym, whatever. But I'm gonna go buy my shit from Dan Murphy's.
Yeah.
Like for some things we feel really passionately about supporting small biz, and then for some we don't.
Yeah.
And potentially your bottle shop, you might harbour bad feelings towards them anyway because you've poured fucking tens of thousands of dollars into the joint.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's less loyalty with that particular product.
Yeah, and I've been trying to stay away from Woolies and Coles as much as possible. It's actually not that difficult. There's quite a few other shops that are open that sell, especially for fresh food.
Do you have
I don't go
anything that
near them.
you need to go there to get?
Just the usual kind of toilet paper and stuff, but that's kind of it.
if
Yeah.
you can get
If you
it.
can get it.
Yeah.
But no, I get all my fresh fruit and veg outside of Woolies and Coles, but I always have. And the pricing is usually you'll find is better outside of those the bigger supermarkets.
Yes.
Not where I'm
Better
at.
quality as well.
You don't have as many choices over that way?
No, I mean price wise.
Oh, really?
100% more variety and more quality.
Yeah.
But it's more
But the
expensive.
price is more expensive.
Yeah, more expensive. So I don't have. We shop. It's pretty convenient for us. We've got like a Coles. Is it Coles? Yeah, right around the corner.
Well, that's
from
what
us.
you pay for, the convenience. Just to
Yeah,
go to
it's-
one place to get everything.
I fucking hate Coles.
Yeah.
Every time I
Yeah.
go in there, I feel depressed.
Oh, it's horrible.
Man, the fruit section's pretty. The fruit and veg section's just always very repetitive when you go in there.
Like 5 different varieties of everything.
Yeah, green
Is it-
apple.
Yeah, one green
Red
apple,
apple.
the orange carrot, that one banana variety,
Oranges.
and sometimes some of them have a red wax tip on them.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
What the fuck that means? And then and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
And celery, and everything's wrapped in fucking plastic. Fucking hate that.
We get a
Yeah,
box
wrap
delivery
shit in
of fruit
plastic.
and veg each week. It's fucking awesome.
Yep.
Mies organises it. I'm very lucky that she does that. But yeah, fruit and veg and then meats from ethical farmers.
Oh yeah, they're good, those guys.
And then I think she usually goes to Aldi to get the other things. And then sometimes there's like a specific thing you'll go to Woolies for.
Yeah, we're a combination. We got Coles 5 Duck, we got Aldi Leichhardt, and next to Aldi Leichhardt is the fruit and veg shop that's really cool that we only just started going to a little bit. I want to go there more. And then we were getting a box every 2 weeks from a friend who gets a bulk box, and she'll give us a box, like a portion of that box every 2 weeks. But we also do. I've also got Kate who she'll buy. Everyone's shopping a little bit, so we have like a base level of things, and then she'll go to this shop. She loves to go to the deli and get bits and pieces.
Oh yeah, she's a good cook too.
Oh, she's legendary. So yeah, we've got multiple sources going.
So it's a good time to get onto nutrition when you think about it, because there's more time at home. A lot of people still time poor, but there's more time at home, which means that you can cook, which is what a lot of people, and you're forced to because your local cafe is not open, so you can't be.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Or your favourite takeaways
really good
near
time.
work.
Get onto nutrition and learn more about food, buying the right stuff. And I think a lot of people are going to come out of this way fitter than they went in.
Yeah,
I went again, like going outside. There's so many people running that probably shouldn't be running, but they're running. They're doing something. And then
And they put that post up. Oh no, it was Theo. Oh my god, he's so funny. What did he say?
Yeah.
He said something about COVID and going out and watching people running and looking like Phoebe from Friends.
yeah. So I had a
basically
dig at them a few weeks ago that was like, running coaches should be like doing fucking aeroplane drops of flyers across parks across the state to like teach people how to run, because there's just fucking people out there that shouldn't be doing it. But it is good that they're doing something.
Yeah. There's a lot more physical activity going on. It's almost like, I feel like this is what it'd be like in a communist country a little bit.
Everyone out there kind of, because you don't have space.
No
at
one's
home.
spending any money on only on like alcohol and food, and you're not doing cafes, and people aren't obsessed with making their business get more productive, and there's none of that business competition kind of thing, and
It's true,
more
but
governmenty. I mean, obviously, it would be a utopian communist kind of society, but
The one
not
that's
a
been
real
yet
one
to have been
I mean,
achieved.
Yes, but it's like it feels like a little bit like that. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It does, but that's kind of, I think it's important to acknowledge one of the irritating things for a lot of people right now is that is the life for a lot of people, like here in our city and in the world, right? Is that their work has gotten a bit quieter, they have more family time.
Government can give them some money.
Yeah, they can find there's still some stability there. But then there's also people out there who are nothing's changed. They're still working just as hard, just as much, maybe, and whatever. They're still got income coming in. I've spoken to a few people who are working more than ever, and they're like
Just getting reamed.
they're crazily under the pump. You
Yeah.
know, particularly people in certain areas of construction, and they're like fucked because like friends of theirs and stuff are having more time to spend with their family and whatever. Like their counterparts have shifted.
Yeah.
But these guys are still doing fucking 16-hour days and still feeling the pressure of business competition and all those things, And then there's people who life is falling apart, like their business is crumbling right before their eyes, and
Can't
they
do
don't
anything about it.
They don't know how they're going to pay their mortgage or whatever. Like there's this whole spectrum of.
Then
like,
you live in Wuhan, and you're like,
well, they're doing all right,
well,
as far as I know, aren't they?
Are they doing well again?
I think things have all gone back to. I saw Jiu-Jitsu academies open back up in Shanghai
No way.
this week, and I think Wuhan have removed most of their restrictions and the wet
that's right.
markets are
Yeah,
open once
yeah.
again. But so like,
Are they?
or Indonesia.
yeah,
would be
yeah,
pretty
there's
tough.
a lot of contention over that the wet markets have been allowed to reopen. I think
For real? Okay.
Yeah.
I heard there was a second wave that was surfed, or there was some cases that came up in China.
Singapore's had a second
Okay.
wave, and
Singapore.
they've gone like they've
Oh,
taken,
no way.
They've eased their restrictions, and now their up
Spiked again.
curve has exceeded
What it was.
the growth that previously.
Well, that's probably what we're in danger of going through as well. I mean, it's not spreading fast enough. Like our government's money is going to run out before this pushes through the whole population if we stayed at current restrictions.
Yes.
So you got to find a way of lifting a little bit of the quarantine and try and get everyone to just hang out there. It's very difficult.
Such a tricky fucking
How
job.
have that many people just go, like opening the beaches again is a really good example. You can go down there and you can swim and you can run and shit, but you can't loiter. Mate, this Saturday and Sunday are down
Everyone's
on
gonna be
Beach.
loitering.
Yeah. Even like now, I've just took my daughter and my son for a surf, and it was busy, and people were
Hanging out.
jogging on the spot, chatting with each other, and I'm like, that doesn't That's not going to stop the virus from jumping from one person to the next. And they're right, in each other's space. And I'm like, man, as soon as this gets busy down here, it's going to be things will ramp up very quickly.
Yeah.
How's America going? Because I saw a disturbing
terrible.
video.
Fine, bro.
It's a disturbing
Fine.
video yesterday, and it was this big protests and rallies in what state I don't know.
Oh, bro, the Trump supporters?
Yeah,
They're
Fuck.
fucking
nuts.
nuts.
And I don't know. I haven't had my eyes too closely on it this week, but
They've got, I saw a thing, like they've got medical workers there who are like fucking bleeding publicly for help. They don't even have like personal protective equipment.
Yeah.
Like they're all
It's a
contracting
mess.
the virus. They're dropping dead. Like it's really it's a really horrible situation. And then on the flip side of that, they've got these like pro-Trump supporters
who just
who are out
aren't
there
doing
telling
any
like, you
good
can't
work.
take away my freedoms.
I want to work. We want to provide for our families.
Yeah,
and
but it's not
tricky.
even that. It's that rhetoric of the American
right.
culture, which is our freedom.
Yeah.
They always go back to that Bill of Rights, and it's like you are taking away my freedoms. It's like, wait, what does that even mean? Like, you know what I mean?
taking
like
away my right to spread corona.
Yeah, it's like.
What if I want to?
It's so fucking full on, and I mean, because it's an election year, right? So Trump is trying to make sure that he's got the support going into that. It's a horrible situation. You got your family over there, huh?
No, my sister's in New York at the moment, in Manhattan, but they're doing okay because my brother-in-law is in a job that he can work from home with, and so they only have to leave to get food. But my sister said that up until last week, no one had really. Everyone's just continuing on their merry way because they're not getting the support that we're getting from our government. Like there's no timeline here. We're going to give you some money. Stay home. Don't work. Elderly are going to be looked after for this amount. There's no real plan. So everyone's just continuing to do what they do. And she'd go to the supermarket and there's like 80-year-olds pushing around their trolleys because they have to go out and get their food and at whatever time of day, and they've got no mask on and people lining up. But she said this last week it's just gone real nasty. Like she can't even get in a lift to get into the building. If she goes to get in the lift and there'll be a person in there, they go, stop right there, don't come any closer, like that
Holy
kind of
shit.
stuff. Like going into shops and people just like freaking the fuck out because I think there's 40,000 dead in America and 20,000 of those are from New York. So it's like the epicenter.
It's like, for us from here, looking at how they've reacted to everything, they've been very casual about it and whatnot. Probably because Americans know other Americans really well. Like, they're not like us. You couldn't just give them the rules that we had and expect that we would somewhat fall in line. And we've had a bit of resistance here, but if you try to impose that, I imagine, because, the stereotype is that the Americans are kind of a little bit more boisterous or pushy, and
Wild West.
it would be if you put that in New York, which is a bit of it's a really concentrated population, and people there they're New Yorkers.
Well, you're
Yeah,
on
but
top of each other. Like
They would
very
get
hard.
really nasty.
It's true, but it's also like,
Potentially.
I mean, I think we're a pretty, I don't know, we're a pretty obedient sort of group, Australians, when it comes to that sort of thing. But when the president isn't supporting like these recommendations, like you heard his shit in the beginning, he's like, they're saying that you should be wearing masks out there. I won't be wearing any masks.
Fake news.
Yeah.
Like when the president's saying that shit, of course people
course
are going
everyone's
to go,
going-
fuck, it's obviously not a big deal. Like even if those people had a good intent, like just the leadership is so misguiding,
So
Yeah.
poor.
Not that I think our leadership was immense throughout this whole thing,
Yeah.
but at least it's now clear. It's like, don't fucking go outside. Don't
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. So most people do the right thing.
Yeah, look, I'm not trying to side with him, but like, can you imagine if you had a population of people that are not that obedient towards things like that, and you trying to take a strong stance to tell them to abide by these new rules, and then have a lot of people not like push back? Like, what I mean is he's pandering a little bit, maybe to the nature that he knows of the people.
Or the people that vote for
yeah,
him.
I mean,
But the trade-off is you become the epicenter of death.
correct.
Yeah.
Like it's a pretty fucking, you know what I mean?
doesn't
I
give
get
a
what you
fuck.
mean. There's
He doesn't
considerations on either end of
He's
that.
got a
sort of-
bunker in a bunker in a bunker
doesn't give a
on an island.
That's
But,
fucking brutal.
the other problem is like just the
On Mars.
density. Like, you know, I mean, we've all been to New York. Like to stay 1.5 meters away from everyone, like just going into your unit. Like imagine living in some of the really in the poorer areas where you're just like right on top of each other, and the lift doesn't work, and everyone's using the stairs, and man, it's like
it's impossible.
It's impossible. It's impossible. You could not abide by those restrictions without some form of government help, and that's not coming for them anytime soon. So, yeah, it's a very tense environment over there, according to my sis.
You know what's interesting though, like just looking at Sydney, is that the epicenters are the more affluent areas.
Yeah.
The epicenters are the place where people have more space and more means and, you know, more to enjoy. It's like, it's the eastern suburbs where people are, you know, whatever.
The privileged.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, fuck that. I'm socialising.
You're not hearing that it's like, you know, parts of town out west where people are doing it a bit tougher, living on top of each other, where that's now, you know, cultivated this massive hotspot. So it's, you know, it's also interesting attitude-wise where...
That's all attitude, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I'm still going to the beach. Fuck it.
Yeah, and fuck those guys are going, I'm going.
I saw the interviews, like a lot of people jogging along the beach, and there was people, there was journalists like pulling them over and getting a quick comment. Did you see some of those compilations? No. Oh, it's so funny.
I saw
you can't catch it on the beach. People trying to run here. You know, it was like all that, just like little snippets back to back. It's just so funny.
Mate, it's in the sun. It can't grow in the sun.
Can't grow in the stuff like that. Like, you can't catch it in the water.
I saw
like okay.
I saw Dimitri on the news the other night.
Dimitri got arrested.
Yeah, Mr. Bondi.
Oh, okay. I was talking about Dimitri from the
He's
gym.
blowing up. I think the whole of Bondi's blowing up.
Tans are fading everywhere.
I've never seen him with a shirt on in my life.
Well, he came out of the cop station. This is like the Channel 7 thing. And the journalist was running up to him and he like saw the journalist and he ripped his shirt off. He's like, oh, hang on a second. Let me just get into costume. I fucking love the guy.
That is awesome. Holy shit.
If they filmed him with his shirt on, he'd sue them for defaming or something.
That's right. That's not me.
That's not me. How dare you do that?
I wanted to go back to because we're coming towards a closing time, but I thought we touched on the nutrition thing, which is good, and I think that's a real practical one for people. You know, I run the nutrition chat on Wednesday nights. So I call it the food chat now, and it was really sick this week. We had a mad turnout. They've been going really well. It's just a low key kind of get together where people can ask any questions about food, and I usually try to bring some kind of thickies, yeah. People, you want to know about thickies? I'll tell you thickies. But I bring some kind of topic that I'll, you know, riff about that week. But what are like, how do you take advantage of the nutrition side of things at this time? What have you guys been doing?
I return back to our original approach to food, and that's just buy seasonally, buy whole, and enjoy the process of cooking. Like it's got to be, it's an art, you know. I'm not exceptionally good at it, but I do enjoy the whole process. I think it's great. How do
you go off recipes? Do you cook on the fly, or do you try to cook 2 things a week? Like, what's your process?
A little bit of both for me. I've got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and sometimes Friday. Usually is what I try to stick to as my cooking days, and Deej does the others. And then depending if it gets really busy, I might not do any of those days, or I might just do 2 of them or something like that. But I try to make those days like my passionate cooking days, and then there'll usually be leftovers and that kind of stuff. And then there'll be a few days in there that's just kind of recipes that I already know off by heart, and they'll be simpler and easier. So when I got time up my sleeve, I try something new, and if I don't, then I'll do something that I know works, that I'm good at.
Go to something kind of easy.
The go-tos, yeah.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
How many, off the top of your head, how many go-to recipes do you think you have? Like, I know it's a big question, but if you were like, I had to like tell you, like, what would it be, like 5 or something?
Yeah, 5 or 10, somewhere in between there, kind of thing. Yeah. I'm still 5 days a week veggie, 2 days meat.
Yep.
Which it slipped a bit on the first 2 weeks coming into quarantine, but I'm back on that now, which is good. Yeah.
Paulie, you got a bit of a process there?
I'm not the cook in my house.
Whatever the ladies lay out.
Yeah, pretty much. And if Tasha's listening to this, she'll be horrified to hear what she just heard come out of your mouth.
Paul's always like, but baby, T doesn't cook, Joey doesn't cook.
Yeah, pretty much. this app will never see the light again. I'm the one who posted it. So yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm in a situation where if I want to be cooking more, I need to muscle my way in a little bit. Oh, not to. Yeah, I need to be proactive about doing it. But yeah, I'm very blessed in that way. And you know, Kate's at home as well because she can't work. So she's a chef for the listeners out there. So she's been cooking a fair bit, and I've been blessed. She's she's never really eaten a lot of meat, and actually Tash didn't eat a lot of meat. She was a vegetarian for a long time, and then moving more towards that. And you know, we had some conversations about it.
So you don't even have a choice.
Oh, they definitely they lay out choice. Like there's always a form of protein that we'll have in the fridge or something like that. Like there's a couple of steaks and whatnot, and then you can always find that. But otherwise, and I didn't really think about it until last week, and I was like, holy crap, how much meat did I eat last week? And not a great deal. So there's a lot of soups going on. Kate's just she's all about whole food and vegetables. She just makes something out of nothing. There's a lot of soups and beans going on at the moment. Yeah, so it's a little cooler and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been pretty nice. Other than that, yeah, just try not to fall off, and you know, if we don't bring the bad things in the house, then we can't have them. So I'm not really, you know, I have a chocolate bar every time I fill up the gas, the petrol. You know, but I don't.
What chocolate bar?
Me? Well, that's the fun part. Hey, you get to choose a chocolate bar every time. It's only, you know, it's kind of like every 4 weeks or something like that. It's a little ritual, but we don't generally have chocolate around in the fridge. It's not really part of our shopping.
Yeah,
it comes in every now and then. And alcohol actually at home was never a thing for me until I had kids. So we do have like a few drinks lying about, but there's only ever 2 in the fridge that's cold. And so yeah, I'm pretty much the same as where I was, but less movement. That's my issue.
Yes,
at the moment.
Training. Less output,
like just less general movement, and that's just the coming to the gym, the walking around, coming upstairs, downstairs, doing 5 warm-ups a day with people. That's the thing that I've noticed the most. But the nutrition, it's okay.
Sorry to cut off. I noticed when I stopped coaching classes, I went from coaching, was it 3 evenings a week? So it was like 9 classes, 9 classes a week or whatever. And when I stopped doing that, my weekly, the amount of movement I was doing each week dropped.
Yeah, the volume just dropped
massively.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just feel that stiffness coming in, and I'm just bringing it back
people that are fitter and stronger will probably get weaker over this time, and people that didn't train at all will get stronger.
Yeah, there'll be a bit of a leveling out.
Yeah, because the people that obviously have their, you know, the apparatus and fucking heavy weights and, you know, the training companions and all of that stuff that you need to kind of push yourself into the next level. Not for everyone, I mean for general, but that's all gone now.
Yeah,
for a lot of people, you know.
It's true.
Whereas for others, it's like that didn't do a lot of training, are like, oh, I've got all this time and
do 5 push-ups every day.
I don't want to fucking die of corona, so I'm more motivated. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's a good point. Hey, I thought there was you know, I've been cooking a few curries lately, and I've really enjoyed diving into that as a bit of a food kind of project, and it all came about because we were in Sri Lanka and the food was like incredible.
God, the colour of those curries looked.
They looked incredible.
That was like no filter too, right?
That was no filter, man. Yeah, that beetroot curry and shit. But the food in Sri Lanka was just amazing. And so I got all inspired and I was like, fuck, I've never understood curries. And Misa organised, it was a really cool thing she did. At one of the places we were staying at, she organised a cooking class for us with, with someone there. And it ended up being like their executive chef, and he comes out and, hello, I'm the executive chef and I'll be taking you for your cooking class today. Anyway, he showed us how to make some curries and I learned a few key lessons and he gave us the recipes and I was like, I want to make use of this and play with these recipes when we get back. So I've been diving into that and it reminded me sort of getting back into it, and I was thinking I'd really like to know how to make like 1 or 2 curries really well. And I remember when you used to get DVDs back in the day and DVDs had like bonus features? They always had like these average bonus features, but back then there was no content like online and shit, so the bonus features were really interesting. I think it was, I I can't remember what the film was. It might have been From Dusk Till Dawn, but it was Robert Rodriguez.
I love the bonus features.
Yeah, and it was like a cooking, he's the director, right? And he's a good friend of Tarantino. And it was a little cooking thing with him. And he was like, here's how I cook at home. He goes, I have a menu that I've created, and it's got 5 dishes. And he said, and that menu lives like on my table. And when I have a friend coming around or I have a social gathering, I give the menu to the people before they come, and they can choose. And what I do is I've practiced every one of those dishes multiple times, and I'm really good at cooking 5 things. And he goes, and so they're my go-to things. So I don't even need to look at the recipe anymore. I just know how to cook them really well. Mm-hmm. And he goes, that's what I would suggest. If you have a trouble with cooking, try and learn 5 things and cook those things. And so it's funny that popped back into my mind, and I was like, this is what I want to do with the curries. I want to learn like 1 or 2 and get real good at them. And that set me on a bit of a path of like going to the Fiji market yesterday and buying some spices and going to make our own curry powder and whatever. But it's why I was quizzing UT on sort of how many things do you actually think you know to cook off by heart. And I think it's a really cool time if people are looking for a bit of a project or a way to engage with their food, trying to master just a couple of recipes and repeat them week in and week out and refine them. I think that's a really cool place to start.
Yeah.
It kind of allows you to have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah. That's what Kate always told me. I had some cooking lessons with her. I definitely been thinking about it this week. This has now inspired me to go ahead and put aside time to have cooking lessons with her and pick those dishes. You know that
so cool.
Written on paper somewhere was my goal to be a curry master by 40.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah. I'm behind. I'll tell you what.
And Joey's pulling ahead.
Joey's pulling ahead.
You don't want this white boy becoming the curry master.
Yeah, bro. But mine's the curry roti master.
Dude,
so
the roti's on another level.
Yeah, that was like, I just want to come over to yours right now and eat them all, but I need to actually get onto...
Bro.
I could cook one if I had to just cook one now.
You could do one?
I could go to the shops and cook one, I reckon.
You know, like how to do
More
it.
or less.
A good roti?
No, not roti. I could... no, not roti.
Yeah.
It's too hard to get that not fucking... like an Anzac biscuit texture, just like discs. But but like a curry, I could cook a curry if I had to.
Yeah,
but
right.
But there's levels to it for sure, and it goes deep, and I want to get into it. So, it's great.
Dude,
I love those colours.
Going to Fiji market yesterday, that shop in Newtown, that was super inspiring.
So good.
There's just fucking sacks of like everything you can imagine. But they got heaps of cool like South American products in there. They got a few Brazilian products.
You can buy roti pans.
Yeah, all that.
And stuff like that.
There was a Fijian fella. He was wearing his high vis. He must have just wrapped up work.
Yeah.
And he was like standing at the counter talking to the woman, and the woman was like, "Hey," like yelled to someone out the back. She's like, "So and so, he needs kava." And she came back with this fucking sack of kava for the guy. And was like, "There you go." He's like, "Thanks, girls." That guy's got the right idea.
Yeah. Yes. In isolation.
Fucking oath.
Yeah.
Are you still sharing the bowl?
Yeah, that's right.
You're still sharing the bowl.
Still sharing the bowl though.
You can't break that tradition.
That's too good.
He's sharing the bowl for sure.
Fellas, should we wrap it up there?
Sounds good.
Yeah, any closing points? Anything you want to mention?
No.
No?
For me.
All clear? Guys, thanks for listening today. Like you said at the beginning, if you want to know about training and you want to train with us, well, you can. It doesn't matter where you live. You can join our gym. And it's been really cool over the last few weeks. We've had old members of ours who had moved out like interstate or moved overseas who have come back to the gym because they can now just train virtually. We've had new people that have been following us on Instagram inquire, and they've joined the gym.
Someone from New York,
a jiu-jitsu girl. Had my mum and sister and my cousin. My cousin and my sister used to train with us years ago. So anyway, if you're looking for some help, we can help you. Get in touch, junglebrothers.com, or find us on Instagram at Jungle Brothers Movement. Thanks, boys. Good chat. I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.